Hi there. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Jay Winokur. Previously, I did a lot of LSPDFR content. Recently, I've divested from that, and I actually stream over at twitch.tv/JWinokur. So, we're going to be doing a series of videos on kind of some things that I like in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and then we can do one on some DCS things that I like as well. So, today is going to be my top 5 fighter jets, payware fighter jets. We're going to clarify that, payware or Microsoft Flight Simulator, with one honorable mention at the end. My number one jet in Microsoft Flight Simulator, payware, is the India Fox Echo F-35. Now, the F-35 is a fifth generation fighter used by many nations, including the United States, used by the United States and Great Britain, amongst many other countries. It is one of the widest produced jets currently in inventory, and it will continue to be so for quite a long time. So the things that I like about this jet, I like the visual effects in it. I like the fact that you're getting 3 jets for the price of one, essentially. You're getting the F-35A, the F-35B, which is the VTOL variant, and the C, which is the carrier variant. Excuse me. All 3 are in service in various nations throughout the world. The C right now is only in service with the United States Navy for use on its supercarriers. Here you can see the F-35B on an amphibious ship, being what's called an LHA, an amphibious assault ship used by the United States Navy and Marine Corps. So the other things that I like about it, we'll go ahead and get over to a photo of the cockpit, is this has a totally custom display. This is all done by India Fox from scratch. A couple of screenshots there. So this is how you control your aircraft. There's not a bunch of knobs and switches across the sides and the front of it. This is how you control it. So everything that you're going to do for the most part in your aircraft is done through the front here. And there's so many different functions. I really, really like what they've done with it. I like how they've implemented it. And when Sim Update 10 launches, there will be a properly modeled helmet mounted display, which is how the F-35 operates. The entire cockpit of the F-35 does not have a HUD. It's operated with a mounted display on the pilot's helmet in the aircraft, and they look around, and that's their HUD. Unique amongst fighter jets. That's my number one. Number two, which might surprise some people, is the F-104. The F-104 Starfighter, for my money, is the closest jet in sim you're going to get to study level right now. You do have to start the jet with correct procedures. There's a knee board in the jet that gives you exactly what you need to do. You have to use an EPU. You have to use aligning the INS, things of that nature. Making sure that your navigation in this aircraft, it's a compass because this is a Cold War fighter. You have to have that in the correct setting to get your course in the aircraft. There's a HUD in the aircraft as well, a very basic one, which obviously, for the period, you're not going to have an advanced helmet mounted display or anything like that. There's also a radar display that you can see in the bottom of that photo there. Here's a good photo of the knee board. It's how you load your fuel into the aircraft. It's how you get your EPU to work. That's how you start it. So everything that you need is in that knee board. Really detailed, really nice flight model. I really enjoy it. The sounds are pretty good. The afterburner looks great. This is kind of one of the quintessential Cold War fighters for the US. It was a massive rocket ship, basically. It just went. You point that thing, 20-degree climb angle, you put the afterburner in, it goes. So that's one of my favorites. Also, the drag chute is modeled. You're going to have to deploy the drag chute on landing to slow it down. That's correct per the actual aircraft and how it flew. So, yeah, that's why I like it. If you are looking for an arcadey experience, I'm just gonna clarify. I'm coming from a good perspective of I like these, I like the flight model. I'm not coming from a perspective of an arcadiness, which is what I don't like. I do fly on PC. I don't fly on Xbox. I've got a full set of peripherals, joystick, pedals, throttle, all that stuff. So, just to clarify, that is the perspective that I'm coming from. If you're looking for an arcadey experience, this video probably wouldn't be as suitable for your interests. So, I'll just clarify that. Moving on to our third decision or choice here. Got a bunch of videos in here. Is the F-14 Tomcat. The F-14 is a legendary aircraft. United States Navy flew this mostly. You know, you've got another Air Force that we won't talk about that flew these, but the United States Navy was definitely the main proprietor of this aircraft, and it flew for a very, very long time. It was a very good aircraft. You can see here it's loaded out with a full weapons loadout, including 2 fuel tanks. You got AIM 54 Phoenix missiles. Those are probably AIM 7 Sparrows, and then 2 AIM 9 Sidewinders. So the things that I like about this, the flight model is very, very good. The interior is very well modeled. It had some growing pains throughout its career, but it's gotten some love and it's gotten better over time. You can see here that it's on a carrier in sim, and it's got the chocks and the tie downs to hold it down, which would be correct for an aircraft carrier. You can see here there is a RIO position that's modeled, radar intercept officer. There are things you can use in the back. This isn't DCS, so obviously you're not going to have the entirety of the weapons platform modeled at this time. I'm told that that's actually work in progress in Microsoft Flight Simulator, which would be pretty cool. But that's why we fly DCS for the most part, right? But there are functions back here. You can actually do shared cockpit and flight sim if you use a program called Join FS. I have done shared cockpit in this. I have been the Rio, and I've actually used the navigation system in the back of the aircraft to navigate a friend to a waypoint. So that's pretty cool. The refueling probe is modeled. You can actually refuel your aircraft in flight if you deploy that probe, so it's pretty cool. You can see here, the cockpit lights up beautifully at night with the red lighting. I'm a fan of that. The one thing that I will say that I don't like, and this is why this is third as opposed to first or second, um, not that livery per se, but some of the other liveries here, they're very. If I can find one. No luck. Some of these liveries are very, very shiny, and I really don't like that. I like my jets to look fleet used and worn. And when an aircraft is on deployment, it's typically going to get very, very dirty, especially when it's on a carrier deck, getting sea spray all over it, things of that nature. So that's my one downside as to why this is third as opposed to higher on the list. There are aftermarket liveries you can get that, it's free, flightsim.to. Great spot for liveries. And I do go on there quite frequently and get liveries. And there is one specific livery maker that has made the aircraft look more fleet used and not brand new. So I do fly with that when I fly. Fourth is the DC Designs, SC Designs. It used to be SC. It's now been taken over by DC. SC was the guy's brother. DC is who did the Tomcat. So the F-16, actually, we'll clarify real quick. With that Tomcat, you do get the A and the B model. So you are getting 2 aircraft for the price of 1, so to speak. With the F-16, you're getting 3. You're going to get the F-16C, the F-16D, and the F-16I. The I is the Israeli model of the F-16. Personally, I fly the Charlie. That's just what I like. It recently got a pretty large update, and it made this aircraft a lot better. It had some teething issues for a large part of the early part of its, even know if you can say career, of its lifespan, we'll say. But a lot of those issues have been sorted out since. So here you can see a, kind of standard livery from Minnesota Air National Guard. See some other liveries here. This would be your Rio or Wizzo seat. I've never messed around with that, so I can't speak to that. You can see the illustrious Thunderbird's livery. There is smoke. It's a good shot of the cockpit. And there's the F-16I with the conformal fuel tanks. I find myself flying mostly aftermarket liveries here. I really like the half glass version of the F-16. Kind of a stealth coating on it. So that's what I mostly fly. But the things that I really like about it, the visual effects got a total rework and they're very, very good now. The flight model got a rework and it's very, very good now. It flies like an F-16. It's very powerful. You strap yourself into that thing and you feel like you've got exactly how much power you should have back there and it will go. So I really enjoy that about it. The downside is there are still, see if I can get a photo of the throttle. There's some fidelity issues in the cockpit. The back seat looks pretty good, but kind of hides it. The throttle has some serious fidelity issues. It's very pixelated, and I'm not as much a fan of that. You know, it's kind of dark in this shot. You can't really see it too well. But there's definitely still some fidelity issues with this. That's why it's fourth. Um, we don't have as much of a plethora of fast jets as you'd think in this sim. We have still a good amount. A lot of them are just downright lazy and bad. So that's why a lot of them haven't made this list. But that's my number 4. Number 5 is an aircraft that has had a large amount of teething in this sim, and that's the F-15. This is also done by DC Designs. You see a theme here. DC Designs are doing a lot of fast jets, and they're working on more. Working on the F4 Phantom 2 and the AV-8B Harrier. They're working on a couple of variants of the Harrier. So, yes. Here's the F-15. With this, you're going to get the C, the E, and the D, I believe. The F-15, you're getting the C, the D, the E, and the I. So you're actually getting 4 for the price of 1. You can see here, this looks to be an F-15E. This is a very early screenshot where the HUD wasn't collimated. Yeah, it is now. This aircraft's gotten better over its life, but it still has a fair amount of teething issues with things that just don't work like they should. The flight model is a little wonky, but it's gotten a lot better with the new rework that they've put in the sim. The avionics suite's pretty good. It's gotten a big improvement now. The big thing that stands out about this, to me, with the newest update, are the sound effects. This jet sounds absolutely amazing. And I would argue, next to that F-104, it's probably the best sounding aircraft in Sim. You know, you key those throttles and you hear that trademark eagle sound that just kind of piques your ears up and you go, oh, that's it. You know, there's a certain note that you can hear with the F-15 that you know that's authentic, and they really hit the nail on the head with this aircraft in terms of sounds. It still needs some work with the flight model. Some of the switches in the cockpit still don't work exactly like they should, but it has gotten significantly better over its lifespan, and that's why I've included it in my top 5. So there's my top 5. Before we end, I'm going to give one honorable mention, and it's an aircraft that desperately needs a little bit of love, and it would probably be definitely in my top 5, and it would displace one of these aircraft. The MiG-21 Fishbed from GKS Studios. Now, GKS is a Ukrainian development studio, so there's been some teething issues, obviously, due to the recent unpleasantness there. It was a late launch for obvious reasons, but we're gonna move past that. And this aircraft is very nice in terms of fidelity. The liveries are very good. There's a very good number of liveries. A whole lot of countries have flown and still fly this to this day. You can see here you can put weapons on this aircraft. You can put fuel tanks on. There's a whole customization menu inside the aircraft for that. And you can put whatever you want on it, basically. You can choose the pylons you want it to be on. You can use so many fuel tanks you want on. So there's a lot of customization options inside this aircraft. And for Fortunately, these are all external shots, but the cockpit of that aircraft, pretty much every single switch is modeled and works like it should in this aircraft. There's fuses, there's warning lights. Can't read any of them because they're in Russian, so slight problem. Um, but there's a pretty good user manual with this aircraft that will help you along the way to learn. You can always use the tooltips in Microsoft Flight Simulator to help you out with that. Unfortunately, there is no English cockpit, which I know some other sims do, and that helps with some of the foreign aircraft. That would be a good suggestion to the developer here is some sort of translation for the American cockpit would be nice. But the downsides of this, there's no visual effects whatsoever on it. So when you're pulling G, there's nothing there. There's no mock change in sound effects. The afterburner looks pretty bad in my opinion. The sounds aren't really where they should be, but this is still a fun aircraft for me to fly, and it's very akin to that F-104 in terms of the way it flies. These were contemporary aircraft. They served at the same time. They were developed around similar time frames. This stayed in service a lot longer than the F-104 did, although I guess that's relative because the F-104 stayed in service with other countries, just not the United States Air Force. You can see here this livery is a Polish one. This is one of the liveries that I usually fly. I'll fly this for the Ukrainian Air Force liveries because those are my favorites. So that is my top 5 favorite fighter jets, payware fighter jets in Microsoft Flight Sim, with the honorable mention of the MiG-21 Fishbed. All these aircraft except the MiG are available on your normal distribution sources. I typically will get most of my aircraft on Just Flight or Sim Market, and then the MiG-21 is only available on Orbex or the InSim Marketplace. I do not use the InSim Marketplace because I like to have the ability to customize more and put weapons on my aircraft. And you can't do that with the InSim Marketplace. But the majority of these aircraft you can find on any of your normal distribution sources, like I said, apart from the MiG. So we'll talk to you next time. The next video we'll do will probably be my top 5 favorite warbirds in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And that will probably be a bit of a controversial video based on some of my choices. But we'll talk to you guys next time. And thanks for joining me. Have a good day.